Hey detectives, welcome to the crew. I'm Sea Lord Jenda, and this is my Let's Play of Disco Elysium. In the last episode, we made our way through this apartment building, found that the guy who we just saw up there had apparently left for work, and let's see here. So we've got to visit him after 9. I refuse to find booze and drink it. Gonna call Alice back again tomorrow. Ask about tattoos. I asked about the borscht, I thought. It's full of vodka. Right. What commercial building was across from the Whirling? Because we're kind of behind the Whirling now. I thought it was actually here, but that's just the apartment that we had to break into. That's the apartment we were just in. Alright, the obvious choice, we need to talk to the Wild Pines rep who's over there somewhere. Let me see if there's anything else up north first. The belly of this boat shines like it was recently painted. Could I take it? Okay, what's this place? Oh, this is just the apartments again. I see. Did we ever visit the balcony on this side? I'm not sure we did. No, we did. I'm sure we did, yeah. This guy is a revolutionary of some sort, right?
Hello again, officers.
No. Just writing a mural.
Ooh. Not only have you found my address, you've discovered my biggest secret. I'm a coal miner.
She does have eyes that seem to be smeared with coal.
Well, it's not the nicest place, but I guess it'll do.
It doesn't have to do anything at all. Nothing does. Like me. Right now, I'm doing nothing at all.
The inspiration will come to her once hell is set loose on the streets. It's too calm right now.
Cool, good for
Shoot,
you, Cindy.
Piggy. It's what you...
Get you later. We talked to her before. My apologies, I don't even remember the last episode that well. I was real tired when I made it. But much better today. Looks like there's more construction here. Once, decades ago. Alright, so this is a marina of some sort. Or a dock, I mean. Magnesium, we got a lot of healing items now. I don't know if that's a good sign or not. Docking reserved for residents of Rue de Saint-Ghislain 33A. The room in the Whirling isn't much bigger than this sloop. This is worth more than you'll ever earn in all your life. Sounds about right, yeah.
A striking woman leans
it is,
against the cabin top of her sailing boat,
Sorry.
smiling as you approach. Her green raincoat glistens with droplets. A silk scarf is tied around her throat.
Miss Joyce, why are your sails fully deployed while you're in dock? By my understanding of sailing ships, that's not how that's supposed to be.
Good morning, officers. I'm Joyce.
She extends her hand in greeting.
Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbour. You gentlemen must be from the RCM.
She steps closer and holds out her hand over the railing. Okay, I'll shake it.
I'm glad to see you here.
Her grip is tight and cold.
Like steel, there is strength there. If she wanted, she could sink her nails deep into your skin.
I was
Nice.
dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the RCM in this matter, I will, gladly.
That is good to hear, madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview. I should let you know that he is recovering from an unusual medical episode. Very unusual. But I can assure you of his ultimate competency.
There's a trace of irony in his voice. Mischief, even. This is a tactic.
Damn it, Kim, are we playing smart cop, stupid cop, and I'm the stupid cop?
It happens quicker than a shooting star. But did the lieutenant just wink at you?
I think we might be.
How interesting. I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation, and the full cooperation of the Wild Pines group.
Yes, thank you, thank you. You're on a boat.
Why, yes I am.
She looks at the deck under her feet. Green and white sails flutter overhead. Yes, see, why? Why are the sails fluttering overhead when she's in port? It doesn't add up. That's not how sailboats work. Not a lot of people on boats, are there?
Of course there are. We're on an archipelago. How else are you supposed to get around?
Wait. We're on an archipelago?
Yes, we are. We are on Le Caillou.
Technically, the neighboring Ozone and Fas a la Mer island groups are archipelagos, while La Caillou, by contrast, is a single fertile landmass, the fourth largest island in the world. It is not an archipelago.
Wait. I thought Le Caillou was one big island?
Okay, if you want to get technical. The point is, we're all on islands here, and sail is still the most expedient way to get from one island to another, especially when you're in a hurry to resolve a strike.
Still, I haven't seen anyone else sail a boat around here.
I haven't seen anyone else drive a souped-up Capri Canema motor carriage either.
Fair.
Actually, that motor carriage has been specially issued to serve as a patrol and pursuit vehicle. It's for
Okay,
crossing long distances in the greater Ravachol industrial harbor. It's not a toy.
Neither is this. A toy, I mean. It's a machine for crossing long distances in the Bay of Revachol, between the city and the islands.
You need to make this lady admit she's only riding around on this boat because she's rich.
Yes, I do.
Before you do, it will be pertinent to ask other questions. Gather more info on this boat of hers.
Yes. Does she have a name?
The boat? No. It is called Cordelati 19 because that's the type of sloop it is.
What kind of insufferable rich asshole owns a boat and doesn't name it? I hate this woman now. What kind of boat is it?
It's a pleasure craft. A 19 pacer.
If you saw.
It also happens to be rated for Category 1 racing. Though these days I mainly use it for business.
I see. How do you like it?
My sloop? I like it a lot. It's the eel's hips, baby.
I didn't know that about the soundtrack. That's interesting.
I'm enjoying this part of the interview. It has so little to do with the murder we're investigating.
Shut up, Kim. We're talking about boats. You have a license for this boat?
Officer, I assure you I'm a highly qualified pleasure craft operator.
The crowns of her teeth are porcelain, white as the boat's hull as she smiles. Her nonchalance might be related to something called the Wayfarer Act, a law that says she doesn't need a license. Sly Fox, you're not aggressive enough to harass her further on this.
Well, I'm a little concerned by the fact that the sails are fully deployed and fluttering in the breeze as she's sitting stationary in port, so... possibly no. Let's talk about the economics of this boat you're on.
Oh my, the E word. You mean to say that it's a symbol of conspicuous consumption? That I'm a member of the ruling class?
Yes, it got it in one, exactly.
Detective, may I remind you that Mrs. Messier is a professional negotiator.
He does not look like he thinks you'll best her in single combat.
Then what does that say?
She points.
Does it say docking reserved for residents of Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 33A?
Yeah, I think it does,
33A?
yes.
This old proletarian haunt here. As I said, plenty of people drive boats, of all social strata.
Oh boy. Why is it +1 for it's the eel's heels?
Your synapses flesh.
Let's see here. Funny, I don't see any other eel's heels around.
You mean eel's hips.
Oh, hips.
But point taken. I am a bourgeois woman, and this is my fast, light, interminably bourgeois boat.
Alright, as long as we're clear on that, I think I got a handle on it.
Good.
Okay, so what do you do about wild pines?
What we do. I'm afraid I don't speak for Wild Pines as a whole. It's a giant undertaking.
There
Gosh.
was a touch of discomfort there. She wants to merely represent.
Alright, so what do they
The
do?
Pines' core competency is logistics. Container shipping, freight, that sort of thing. See those airships there, blinking? Those are the shipping side of things.
Sure.
And that is the terminal. Another subdivision deals with energy, oil and gas exploration, offshore platforms.
Oh boy.
The Wild Pines Group is one of the original Revacholian Indo-tribes. Companies awarded royal monopolies by the king, the suzerain himself, centuries ago. The king is long gone, but several of the Indo-tribes remain.
Oh boy, a shipping monopoly. Who are the others?
Son Baptiste, LUM, an unknown entity known as Brightest Star.
What do you mean an unknown entity? Good grief. Proper cyberpunk that. Alright, so you're in good company.
Why, thank you.
Uh-huh. How rich is Wild Pines?
I'm not at liberty to discuss the company balance sheet, but I can tell you that last year, the company booked more than 20 billion real in revenue.
Well, that's a lot.
20 billion is a large number, but the conglomerate employs 72,000 people. They all need to be paid. Then there are capital improvements, interest payments.
A wave hits the sloop, she grasps the mainstay for balance.
A conglomerate the size of the Wild Pines is like a shark. If it stops moving, it will die. Then what becomes of those 72,000 families? It's a tremendous responsibility.
Uh-huh. And you get all these billions from shipping?
They started as an exploration and cargo fleet conducting trade between the Samaran and Insulindian Easterlers 250 years ago, when pine ships explored the South Seminese and charted Lomantang on behalf of the suzerain. Centuries of care, deliberation, and madness have gone into this endeavor. Vessels pass through the great unrest to re-emerge with apricots in tow. The logic of the system is totalizing. It's taken everything from its employees to build it.
Did it help to start out with a, royal monopoly?
You know more than you let on. Certainly it helped, but most of the original Indo tribes have failed or been absorbed. To survive, Wild Pines had to grow and adapt. No suzerain did that.
Fair enough. So, what do you want with a place like this?
You mean aside from being the terminal's legal owners, who are responsible for moving 8% of the world's cargo?
8% of all cargo in the world, huh? That is quite the endeavor.
There are no minor cogs in the system. Each terminal must be accounted for, lest the entire system break. Every hiccup in such a system means thousands lose their jobs, the world over. I'm here to assure that doesn't happen.
Right. So, what can you tell me about the strike then?
Everything. Right up to, but not including, trade secrets.
What if I want to hear about trade secrets?
First, you'd have to repeal the Emergencies Act of Trade in Aliments. That gives me the right to silence. It's quite the octopus.
Wouldn't want to disturb an octopus, better let it be.
I am glad you see it that way. To repeal the act would mean repealing the
Yes, it
coalition
is, yes.
government. The one that leases you the right to police West Revachol.
You'd be
Yeah, I'm
shooting
coming pretty much
yourself
totally
in the
blind
foot,
into this.
in other words.
Leave that
But
alone.
I am derailing us. You wanted to know about the strike.
Alright, what's your role in this?
I believe the official title is Senior Labor Negotiator. In practice, I'm a grocery clerk. I relay the union's demands to Wild Pines and return with Wild Pines' counteroffer.
And how are the talks going?
They're not. That's the problem. The union stopped all negotiations a week ago, after that awful lynching took place.
That is a touch unproductive.
Wait, she just admitted that the lynching and the strike are connected.
Well, that was obvious
Now
already.
they won't even let me into the harbour. There's a 2-meter 20 racist behemoth blocking the gates.
I'm not referring to him as my race mentor and great teacher. No. So the strike's connected to the lynching?
Yes, I believe there is a connection, but that's a subject for later.
Her eyes narrow. Alright, how were the talks going before the lynching?
Let's say I was not making the kind of progress I'd hoped for when I first arrived.
And when did you first arrive?
I arrived 3 weeks ago. Yes, in the middle of February. The bay was still partially frozen then. I prefer to do these things on site, like the RCM.
But the strike began in December.
He looks at his notes.
I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over after Mr. Gaumont hit a wall with Mr. Clare, the union boss. Mr. Clare refused to speak with Gaumont despite concessions he'd granted the union in prior negotiations.
I see.
This isn't the first time the union has gone on strike.
Heavens no. There have been 2 prior strikes. Both times the union won significant concessions, including overtime pay and a medical plan. This time their demands are more, I guess you could say, aggressive.
My god, the company had to give them overtime pay? Unbelievable.
Ludicrous, even. It's meant.
I see. What are their demands then?
There are leaflets everywhere, and banners. What did they say again? Oh yes, every worker, a member of the board.
Most of the workers probably don't know what that means.
I don't, yeah, that's probably a little well, I support it theoretically, but it's impractical to achieve. I don't know what to think about that.
Fortunately, they explained it. Every time the Wild Pines group makes a decision about anything, it needs the signature of each of the 2,200 workers in its Martinez terminal.
Yeah, to be remotely practical, it would at most have to be a vote on major decisions or something. That's not clearly going to work out.
Just so you understand, this is but one of 22 terminals owned by Wild Pines. Essentially, not only are they kings of the company, they are also kings of the 72,000 employees of Wild Pines Group.
Yeah. That would be pretty funny.
They're having a blast. But how can they afford it? After 4 months, my assumption
That
was
is
they
an
would
interesting
prefer
question.
a more practical solution.
How deep is the union's war chest? It shouldn't be that deep, really. They are the workers. So what are you gonna do?
I'm not sure. Naturally, I assume that was just their opening position. A hard-nosed tactic with a side of mockery. But there's been no follow-up, just the same nonsensical slogan repeated over and over again. And now, people are getting lynched, I hear. Behind the whirling in rags. A disastrous situation if there ever was one.
Excuse me, from whom did you hear about this lynching?
I first heard it from the boyer at the gates. The one whose very name advertises his aversion to work. I think he said it was, "Call me mañana."
Yep, met him.
This checks out.
This does check out. What happened to this Gaumont?
Mr. Clare told him to... How did he put it?
She pauses to compose herself.
Fuck off, midget. Gaumont is short of stature, you see.
Okay then.
Yes. Keep in mind, this is a negotiator Mr. Clare has worked with before, and who was more than fair with him and the union.
Yeah. Considering he was able to win concessions off Gaumont previously, it does suggest Claire has a lot of confidence. And the length of the strike, I wonder if there's some kind of backing that they didn't have before. Alright, what do you think of it for art?
Everard Clare is a man of the utmost integrity. If you can say one thing about him, it's that he always puts the interests of the workers first.
Really?
Of course not. Everard is fantastically corrupt. I imagine he has a thick, viscous goo where you and I have blood.
Yeah, that seems fairly accurate,
He is
actually.
the most corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal, more irredeemably nepotistic, then it's his twin brother, Edgar.
Wait, there's 2 of him?
Yes, Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for that lazy eye. He also talks exactly like Everard does, and when one's term as foreman is up, the other takes over. It's how they circumvent the term limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. While in office, they've embezzled God knows how much of their workers' dues.
Yeah, that doesn't sound too great. So what about the union outside the Brothers Clare?
The Debardeurs Union was once a perfectly normal institution. 20 years ago, anyway. It must not have been easy to establish under the Emergency Act, but they did it. I can respect that. Organized labor at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter elections. The Brothers Clare came and transformed it into a... how do you say?
She hesitates, looking for the right expression.
A mob. The Debardeurs are a crime syndicate. Sad as it may be, we are forced to cooperate with them.
Refreshingly honest, officer. The company has tried appeasing in the past, but I'm afraid our concessions have only emboldened Everard and his brother.
She turns to you.
And your opinion, detective, if I may ask? I'm a curious and talkative person, you see. Would you say the Debardeurs Union is...
I prefer not to have an opinion on these things.
Of course, officer.
In front of people who obviously would take advantage of my opinion on these things. One more thing. You said something happened in the elections?
I'm glad you asked. There was a woman, the previous forewoman of the Union. She disappeared.
Oh, that doesn't sound great.
Yes. On the last day of the local chapter elections, her daughter phoned in and said she wasn't running anymore. Or coming to work. Ever. End of story.
This forewoman, her name?
Yeah, this forewoman, her name?
Sadly, the company records do not even give a name. She's just forewoman in private correspondence, Holly. I don't even know if it's a sir or given name, and I don't have access to the union's files.
I'm sorry, the company doesn't even have a record of her name? Bit eerie.
Downright haunting, if you ask me. The Wild Pines suspected foul play, but what could they do? It was a union matter.
Of course, her perspective on this is super biased, but it still seems suspicious.
The point of the presentation is, these kinds of things happen around the Clares. Watch out when you're dealing with him.
Thank you for your concern, ma'am. We'll be just fine.
So, you put those scabs at the gate?
The scabs? You mean the huddled masses of Jamrock come to plead for work where the Union refuses to?
Don't let her answer it herself.
No, I mean scabs.
If these workers were organized by Wild Pines or its affiliates, then it would be a company secret. I could not share it with you. Not yet, at least.
It's implied. She's open to discussing this matter with you at a later occasion.
It is. Alright, let's change the
Of
topic.
course. How else can I help?
What more can you tell me about this lynching, then?
Quite a few things, I'm afraid.
She falls silent for a moment, contemplating something.
The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have to ask for your names and badge numbers.
Of course, ma'am. We should have introduced ourselves. I am Lieutenant Kitsuragi, from Precinct 57. And this is my colleague from Precinct 41, Detective Dubois. I'm afraid Harry doesn't have his badge at the moment. I hope mine will suffice.
Way to be diplomatic, Kim.
Oh, and what happened to yours, Detective?
She returns the lieutenant's badge and turns to you. Well, remember when my partner told you I had recently suffered an unusual medical episode? My lost badge is related.
I see. So, are you saying you lost your badge during the course of this episode?
I could have eaten it for all I know. I don't remember anything. The world, the city, not a thing.
Oh dear. Some kind of encephalopathic amnesia. I don't even know how to respond. I do believe you, naive as that may sound. I simply can't imagine what you gain by faking such a condition.
Yeah, nothing. I'm not faking it.
As I said, ma'am, his technique may be very unconventional, but he is an officer of the RCM.
Of course, I sympathize, but I'm afraid I simply can't share anything more until I've seen that badge.
She's a professional negotiator. She should be
That's
open
not
to
gonna
some
work.
sort of mutually beneficial arrangement.
Let's try it anyway.
She's
Oh
a
my God.
negotiator. Just float a favor at her. Insinuates.
Surely, there's some other way to demonstrate our law enforcement credentials.
I will be frank with you. If I'm going to break protocol, I need to be able to justify it to my superiors. They're going to want to see something very tangible.
You're in, but expect her to drive a hard bargain.
Yeah. Like what?
Reports from inside Terminal B suggest it's a hub for the local drug trade. This is an open secret in Martinez. The Union controls the terminal, so it goes to reason.
They're profiting from this trade.
Does.
The company has tried looking into this matter before, to no avail. Perhaps someone with your authority and resources might turn over the right stones. Or you can recover your badge. Though if I may be blunt with you, it sounds like that may be a lost cause.
Detective, a word in private before we continue.
Right. Excuse us a moment, madame. Kim?
This is not going quite as I hoped it would, Detective.
The lieutenant's voice is hushed. How are you hoping it would go?
Honestly, I was expecting you to use your unorthodox technique to keep her off balance, and not volunteer us to be her henchman.
Well, I was hoping to, but yeah. So we're henchmen now?
This woman is running circles around us. She might have known about your misplaced badge all along, or she's simply an adept improviser. Either way, we've played straight into her hands.
I can see that,
Maybe
yes.
this is all her plan. She might have heard about you.
We could just find my badge.
Oh, that would be fantastic, but do we have the time? The world is large and your badge is 8 by 6 centimeters.
It is a problem, yes.
The situation might have changed drastically by the time you locate it. Time is of the essence.
You could request a new one from your station, but that would literally take months.
Company must have ears on the ground. She could have known about my condition.
I wouldn't go that far. Her reaction did come off as sincere to me. I think she's just quick to adapt. She's a professional, after all.
Alright, so do you propose we don't investigate the drug trafficking?
No. If there is reasonable suspicion, we must investigate. Otherwise, she could claim we are siding with the Union, or that we are on their take. We'd never hear the end of it. What I propose is, we ask her, then we investigate, briefly. But do not share the outcome of this investigation with her. We tell her it's done, and demand for her information on the lynching.
Alright, back to her then.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with?
Right. Aside from the lynching, do you know something about these
That's
tattoos?
the man who was killed. I'm afraid this is a discussion for once we've cleared the lynching question.
Well, you looking at the photos not that tied to the
Better
lynching?
not tie the forestay to the backstay on this. I hope there is something else I can help you with.
By the way, I've talked to Everard Clare.
You have? And how did you like Mr. Clare?
I wish to swear fealty to you in the cause of capital? That's a no. Well, I didn't like him much, to tell you the truth. It's, I didn't.
Oh, come on now. He has his uses. How else would he have stayed in power all these years? Or wait, actually,
She answers her own question.
corruption. That's how he's done it. Fantastic, Verm-like corruption, reaching into the bowels of the earth.
She looks at the ground and nods.
The position of my unusual colleague does not reflect official policy. I hope you understand. The RCM does not pick sides.
Hey, I didn't pick sides either, really.
Of course. And I don't expect you to share anything he told you with me. I'm not a corrupt Verm myself.
Alright.
However, if you felt like discussing something, how could I stop you? Are we not human? Are we not curious to hear another person's take? It's only natural. We would only be gossiping.
Intellectually speaking, it would be quite interesting to hear what she has to say about these things.
Yeah, that's a hard no. I'd rather talk about something else for now, if you don't mind.
Of course, Detective. Should something come up later down the road, don't be afraid to drop by for a chat. Until then, is there anything I can help you with?
Yes, you seem smart. Could you give me a lowdown on this, reality?
This reality.
She pulls her hood closer around her neck.
Yes, reality is your side case.
Exactly.
An experimental side case.
Yes, it's related to that medical episode I had. I have trouble remembering even the most basic terms of reality.
Ah, yes. The episode. Sounds like an acute case of encephalopathy, now that I think of it.
She puts down her thermal cup and looks at you.
Don't be phased, madame. He functions perfectly well. He only needs a lowdown on all of reality.
Exactly, Kim, you get it, thanks.
We may be here a while then.
She takes
Ask
a
away,
long sip
officer.
of tea.
I'll help however I can.
All right, we're in. I know these all look good, but begin with the first, okay?
Where are we?
We're in Martinez, baby.
Baby? Okay, and what is Martinez?
Martinez is a district of Revachol. A very small district tucked away near the industrial harbour, north of the 881 and Jamrock. You would be excused for not knowing about it. Unimportant, they say. Forgotten, even. Shelled to smithereens during the Revolution. It has its charms, just not this time of year.
Right. Tell me more about Martinez.
I'm not a good ambassador. I've only been here once before, as a teenager. Not a lot has changed. There are ruins, a terminal, fishing boats, reeds, boys with boxy shoulders.
Pretty much.
This place used to be a province, a workers' resort before the city swallowed it and the artillery did its work. The reeds are the real star of the show here now. The further down the coast, the wilder it gets.
Okay, you mentioned a sea. What sea is this?
It's not really a sea, it's the Bay of Revachol. And the bay feeds into the ocean.
Right, we're near the ocean?
Yes. We're on an island in an ocean. The world's largest body of water. The Insulindic.
Known to the early Revacholians as Les Immensités Bleues, the Blue Immensities.
I see. Very poetic. What's the name of this island?
Caillou, as you already know. Imagine a pebble. A smoothed over pebble amidst a great blue sea. Misshapen, cracked. The cracks are the River Esperance. We're in the delta of this river, on the 6th branch, the Martinez distributary.
It is clear this pebble is of enormous value to her,
Well, we do all live on it, to be fair.
and to humanity at large.
Yeah. Okay, that's Martinez. Was Revachol.
Revachol? Revachol is what you call a city.
What kind of city is Revachol?
Great kind.
Oh, what makes Revachol great?
History detective. They built this city to resolve history. Our part in it, at least. Our centuries.
Oh, who built this city?
The nations of the Occident, or migrant workers from Semenine and Ile Marat, depending on your creed.
Okay. When was this city built?
In the DeLorean century. 380 years ago.
And why will it resolve history?
They say it's where the terrible questions of our time will be answered. The tensions are highest, the fault lines deepest. By that I mean conflicts. Ideological conflicts. The stuff of men.
I see. Why here?
We are standing on a fertile, self-sufficient island able to sustain up to 200 million people in the middle of the Insulindic Ocean, the world's connective tissue. It's where the money is.
So we're pretty much at the center of the world?
Oh, we're quite a way off. About...
She points across the water where the skyscrapers
A
rise.
collection of tall ghosts behind the water vapor, light reflecting off their glass windows.
22 kilometers from the center of the world.
I see.
That soldering iron is the bank of the world building. The bottom floors are Insiacom. Coalition government, Insulindian Mission Command.
Yeah, that sounds important.
Silence. She lowers her hand. The water, the light. It's as though you're seeing it for the first time. There is no recognition, only the immensity of the sea and the cold radiating from it.
Observe.
She observes your eyes scanning the horizon, then breaks the silence, slowly. This is one thought you need to complete. Where are you?
Was there something else you wanted to know? I remember something about a lowdown.
This has been informative. Thank you, ma'am. I'm sure my memory-impaired partner has many more questions to ask, about even more fundamental aspects of reality.
Yes, yes, I do.
Might I suggest not asking them all right now? Ma'am, Messier will be here later too, and tomorrow. Isn't that true, ma'am?
Absolutely. My commitment here is long-term.
Okay, Lieutenant, I'll continue later.
It's better not to eat all your candy at once.
Indeed.
Thanks, Kim.
I'm always at your service.
Ah. Alright, that'll be all
Glad
for now
to have
then.
been of assistance.
Okay,
With that I know. Anything else?
tell me about this drug trafficking.
It's quite straightforward. Someone is using Terminal B to smuggle raw ingredients from the Samar and Isola into Revachol with the Union's blessing. Wild Pines has suspected it for years.
Ingredients for what, ma'am?
Meth and dextroamphetamine, GBL, and various synthetic psychedelics. Honestly, it might be quicker to say what you can't make from the stuff.
Right, so there's materials coming from Samara to Revachol through the terminal.
Yes. After they clear the terminal, we lose track. The actual production is taking place at various sites in and around Jamrock Quarter, north of here.
Wild Pine seems to be well apprised of the local drug trade, ma'am. Do you mean to say the Union also produces the product? Sells drugs, I mean?
Damn, quite stormy outside all of a
We're
sudden.
in logistics. It's our business to know. And no. As far as the company knows, the Union does not produce it. They transport the ingredients for a cut.
And you want us to investigate?
Yes, but you won't get anything out of Evrat and the Dock Workers Union. Still, every chain has its weak link.
The handoff. The motor lorries at the roundabout.
Lorries.
Precisely. Someone needs to move the ingredients from the harbour into the city. Once they reach Jamrock, they're distributed to a network of local manufacturers well beyond our grasp. But in transit, they're vulnerable.
How convenient that they're stranded like beached whales at that roundabout.
Perhaps you've noticed that a number of lorries are tangled in a traffic jam at the roundabout just now. Interview the drivers who are still hanging about. One of them might be waiting for a crucial shipment.
She gives you a knowing look.
Her irises are light green, like the river Esperance in bright daylight, upstream where it's clearer.
I'll be explicit. If you find this driver, I will share company secrets with you.
Uncovering Union secrets could also give you an upper hand when dealing with them.
Why didn't you come to us earlier?
We did. On more than one occasion. Apparently, there's some sort of inter-precinct disagreement about whose jurisdiction this area falls under.
Ah,
We know
yes,
the
that.
company has launched its own probe into the Union's alleged involvement. We also know it's come up empty. It's not just the RCM. No one's been able to find any hard evidence.
Well, here's your chance, officers.
Not a coincidence the lorries are stranded there like that, is it?
No. We asked East Motor Track to raise the drawbridge. The road company is a partner of one of our subsidiaries. However,
She pauses, looking to the sea.
this is a limited time opportunity. Once the complaint has been processed by the Trade Committee, they'll have no choice but to lower the drawbridge, and the operation will continue.
She looks north.
Thousands of litres of raw ingredients will pour onto the streets of Revachol. Not the east across the river, but the west. The vulnerable, the weary.
Well, at least this solves one mystery.
What is that, Lieutenant?
Why I had to call East Motor Tract and beg them to open a drawbridge for me. I'd wondered since I first drove in, on my motor carriage.
I am sorry for the inconvenience, Lieutenant Kitsuragi, but we need them trapped here. This is a unique opportunity. I'm sure you understand.
Right. You're proof that the Union's
How
involved?
do you think they're financing this strike? There are
Does make sense,
thousands of
actually.
unpaid dock workers going strong for the 4th month straight.
There was a shakedown of local businesses preceding the strike. Many were squeezed to bankruptcy to fund it.
With all due respect to these desert cacti, the contents of a few cash registers cannot provide for 2,000 men. The local businesses can scarcely provide for themselves.
So you reckon the drugs are funding the strike?
Precisely. Smuggled out of that very gate at night, most likely, then loaded onto lorries and driven to Jamrock. You simply need to find one driver who will open up to you.
Don't think I should tell her that. Alright.
Yes?
I will see where this goes.
Excellent. According to my reports, there are at least 3 lorry drivers lingering near the roundabout. Hopefully one of them will know something. It may come to nothing, or it may just blow the case wide open. I can keep the drawbridge up for a few more days at least. You should have the time you need. In the meantime, let me know if there's any other way I may be of assistance.
She takes another long sip from her seemingly bottomless thermal cup. Alright, that's all for now.
Of course, Detective. Take care.
Save in case I lose power. It's, I don't know if you can hear the thunder, but it's storming out there now. Thanks for watching, Detectives. New parts will be up every other day, or you can watch live on Twitch. If you did enjoy, consider leaving a like and subscribing. And have a nice day, Detectives. This is Sea Lord Jenda, signing off.